On the 8th of the Jewish month of Ab, in late July 70 AD, Titus, the son of the Roman Emperor Vespasian, who was in command of the 4-month siege of Jerusalem, ordered his entire army to prepare to storm the temple at dawn. A total of 60,000 Roman legionaries and local auxiliaries were eager to deliver the final blow to the defiant but broken city. Within the walls, 500,000 starving Jews survived in diabolical conditions. Some were fanatical religious zealots, some were freebooting bandits, but most were innocent families with no escape from this magnificent death trap. This final desperate struggle would decide not only the fate of the city and her inhabitants, but also the future of Judaism and the small Jewish cult of Christianity. Around the city walls, there were gruesome scenes that must have resembled hell on earth. In the preceding months, Titus had ordered all prisoners or defectors to be crucified. 500 Jews were crucified each day. The Mount of Olives and the craggy hills around the city were so crowded with crucifixes that there was scarcely room for any more, nor trees to make them. Thousands of bodies putrefied in the sun, and the stench was unbearable. Dogs and jackals feasted in packs. Many Jerusalemites, as they escaped, swallowed their coins to conceal their treasure. They emerged, swelled like men with dropsy, but if they ate, they burst asunder. As their bellies exploded, the soldiers discovered their reeking intestinal treasure troves, so they started eviscerating all prisoners while they were still alive. Titus tried to ban these anatomical plunderings, but the cruelties inflicted by the Romans and the rebels within the walls compare with some of the worst atrocities of the 20th century. The war had begun when the ineptitude and greed of the Roman governors had driven even the Judean aristocracy, Rome's own Jewish allies, to make common cause with a popular revolt. The rebels had exploited the collapse of the regime following the suicide of the crazed Emperor Nero to expel the Romans and re-establish an independent Jewish state based around the temple. But the Jewish Revolution immediately started to consume itself in bloody purges and gang warfare. By the time Vespasian emerged as emperor and dispatched Titus to take Jerusalem, the city was divided between 3 warlords at war with each other. Their fighters, provincial cutthroats, killed anyone in their path. In their ingenious depravity, they invented unlawful pleasures. Jerusalem, given over to intolerable uncleanness, became a brothel and torture chamber, and yet remained a shrine. Pilgrims had arrived for Passover just before Titus closed in on the city, trapping them and many refugees from the war, so there were hundreds of thousands of people in Jerusalem. Only as Titus encircled the walls did the rebel chieftains halt their infighting to face the Romans together. The city that Titus saw was, in Pliny's words, by far the most celebrated city of the East. The Jews, aided by Jerusalem's precipitous heights, her fortifications, and the labyrinthine temple itself, had confronted Titus with overweening confidence. After all, they had defied Rome for almost 5 years. However, Titus set about reducing Jerusalem with systematic efficiency and overwhelming force. The Jews fought for every inch with almost suicidal abandon. Titus, commanding a full arsenal of siege engines, catapults, and the ingenuity of Roman engineering, overcame the first wall within 15 days. He led 1,000 legionaries into the maze of Jerusalem's markets and stormed the second wall. But the Jews sortied out and retook the wall, which had to be stormed all over again. Finally, Titus decided to encircle and seal the entire city by building a wall of circumvallation, leaving one tower where Titus had set up his command post. By midsummer, as the blistered and jagged hills sprouted forests of fly-blown crucified cadavers, the city within was tormented by a sense of impending doom, intransigent fanaticism, whimsical sadism, and searing hunger. Yet the rebels were still fighting.